Hey there, everybody! Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today, I'll be taking a look at the newly released War Epic by Nathan Cowdery. I saw it on Instagram. I like the art in it. I've seen Nathan Cowdery's art. I'm probably following it on Instagram. I like his art, but I haven't read anything yet. And this is a brand new book out, so I figured that would be a good thing to jump in and get a sense of like what his stuff is about, and see if I want to get more, because I do really like the art. I'm still unsure after reading this. I'll say this right out the gate, is that first off, this doesn't say War Epic 1, it doesn't say issue 1 or anything that suggests, as far as I could tell looking through it, that this was part of a series, even though it reads like just the opening to a story. So I have a really hard time, like, I think this is part of a larger ongoing story, but yeah, I just don't know what to make of it if it's not. And I don't know what to make of it if it is either, without reading the rest of it. But since there's nothing in here that suggests it is part of something longer, again, I don't see like a number 1 on the cover. I don't see any kind of indicia inside that says anything about it. By the way, Nathan Cowdery, gangster as fuck for putting this weird picture of yourself with French toast or a toasted cheese sandwich or something, looking very uncomfortable. But it's got his other works in here. Again, Crash Site was something I was looking at. A lot of these look cool to me, but I'm a little hesitant now, I'll admit. So anyways, getting into the book, that I don't know if it's a first issue or not. We basically open in Germany in 1944, and we have this character here, the this isn't the commandant. This is his right hand manish person, going out and telling these Nazi officers that the commandant has lost his cat. It's very important to the commandant, so you got to go get him. So my first thing is, this is a very strange book about Nazis looking for a cat, which is, I don't get why someone would want to do that story. I get you have the idea and it's funny, okay, but I gotta roll with it. I gotta see, like, is this just like a fun Nazi story, or is there, like, it's just a weird thing to like make a fun missing cat story with Nazis. Like, I don't know what that is. But I wanted to know. I wanted to see, okay, where do you go with this to make it like, where it's not problematic, or maybe it is problematic, and then we can talk about that. And then the next page, I'm like, okay, this is really gonna get wild. But I really like it. It's great. Like, the overall is great. B, kind of the formal mechanism of like the soldiers getting shot while this cat's attacking a bird, is really, really funny. And then each composition, the coloring, just the art, all of that's really well done. So I think this sequence is great. And it's like, okay, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get this weird story about this cat affecting World War II somehow. And I'd say, oh, okay, I could go with that. Like, this will be strange, funny, and cute. And then we get a chapter jump, chapter 1, Das Schlab. And you have basically the commandant character here has commissioned a sculpture of himself. Commandant Brun has commissioned a sculpture of himself. This is the commandant, and this is the old man. And I'm assuming he's Jewish. I don't know though. But he's made this big golden bronze statue of the commandant fucking somebody, and the commandant wanted to have a different face on it. Like, he made a coming face, and the commandant wanted like a ooh face, a surprised face, and none of that's ever explained. It just makes the commandant seem gross and creepy. But like, that's that scene, and then this awful thing where they're like, go rape him, basically. It gets really kind of gross, and it's like, god damn it, this is what I was fearing this book was gonna be, is just another one of these, like, let's just be gross and edgy just to be gross and edgy. And that's what it starts to seem like. We have this long sequence where, like, this guy's dragged into a room, and he's basically been instructed to fuck him in the ass first and then in the mouth. So just totally reprehensible, disgusting. But I mean, you're also, you are talking about Nazis, so like that kind of works. But I get the sense that Nathan Cowdery just thinks all this is funny. And that's where, like, I don't know, I kind of not get off in the sexual sense, but I get off the train at that point in the book. But I've got it. I still like the art. I really like the look of the art throughout this sequence. And I'll give it a shot. I'll see where it's going. Maybe he's just painting this character as a bad guy, but I get the sense he's just kind of reveling in the perversion of it. You get this character that had come out earlier with the pointy hat on. That's the right hand man. I didn't catch a name for him. This character, this weird little tomato character, is Cryotech. So I'm assuming maybe he's like a frozen Hitler brain or something. I don't know. It's like a little tomato guy with a knife. Very strange. That's not really explained. And then you basically get a break there where this character says, I'll explain everything. And then you just get a break to another story, which is these two ally fighters fighting the Germans in this plane scene, which is like, okay, you're going to go do an old World War II plane scene. That's fun. And then you get this character's memory here. What was her name? You have a male and a female that are communicating to each other throughout this battle here, and you're having like the memories of the guy who dies, Reed. Here, this is like Reed as a kid getting blown up. Oh, and then Everly, not Edith. And then Everly, Reed decides to kamikaze himself into another plane, and then Everly decides to bail out. And again, really like the art, really like the composition on this. The inclusion of black out of nowhere is kind of jarring, but it works well. I think maybe this would be an instance where like colorizing it as like a dark purple or something will work with the colors. And then that character basically gets captured and is in the yard with this meeting that the commandant has called. And you just get the end of the issue where they say we're going to make a play of this thing called The Cherry Orchard, a seminal work by famed Russian playwright Anton Chekhov. I don't know why Germans during World War II, with the Russians as their enemies by the end of it, would be doing a play by Chekhov, but they just say every prisoner line up on the stage, auditions will begin shortly, and then that's the end of the book. So I don't know. Like, it seems like there's a much bigger story developing here about this Everly character being in this concentration camp. And like, I'm gonna find out what the cryotech is, like Hitler's brain in a tomato cryogenically frozen. Who's this robot character? Who's the commandant? Why does he have this statue done? It's just really hard to understand what this is supposed to be. If it had number 1 on it, I'd go, okay, this is curious. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I like the art, and it's so singular that I'll check it out and see how it develops. But it's really hard for me to lean into a work that just ends like this with no hint that it's part of something bigger, no hint that my time is going to pay off in a second issue or anything. So then, as much as I enjoyed elements of it, it makes me very hesitant to check out any of Nathan Cowdery's other work. So I just don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I know this is a new book, and so most of you probably haven't read it, but I do assume people in the audience have read some of Cowdery's other work. So I'd really like some feedback in the comments about, is this typical of him? Am I missing something? Are there going to be more issues of this? Are his other books equally kind of just leaning into the like fuck him in the ass and then stick it in his mouth kind of aesthetic? Or is there more going on in his work? Do his stories usually just kind of like plug in at the middle of something without any resolution? Is that part of his aesthetic? Or, I just like it. Am I fair in writing this guy off, or am I missing something, basically? Maybe he'll do something great in the future. Maybe none of these are very good. I don't know, but I'd like to know. Are any of these books, Shiner, Soft Touch, Crash Site, Sea Diver, Faraway Beach, one that I can't read, are any of those worth checking out? Or am I going to encounter, if I didn't like this one, am I going to dislike those ones, basically? Is it the same problems that I'm describing in here showing up? Because if not, I really like the art, and I'd really like to like Nathan Cowdery's artwork, but I just not sure. I'm not sure what the hell this thing is supposed to be. So any feedback from the audience? This is a call for help. Help me like Nathan Cowdery. I really want to like Nathan Cowdery's stuff. So thank you for that ahead of time. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me for this review. If you enjoy what we're doing here, please make sure to check out our Patreon. You can support us at 2 different tiers of engagement there. And then if you really want to support Living the Line, the best thing to do would be to purchase some of the books that Sean has put out from Living the Line Publishing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at one of those now. The Exile by Eric Creek is a gorgeously illustrated Viking saga of revenge. Eric Creek calls it his Viking Western. It's about a guy who's been away on the warpath and is returning home to some family troubles that have to be resolved. And this is told in just this amazing, like, kind of 3-color art style that looks like old woodblock cuts or something. It's absolutely gorgeous book that you've got to pick
up. Like and subscribe and hit the bell, please, so Carson can finish reading his books and let me go home.